Carolyn Dube here. What's the play for today? Well, today I'm actually getting myself out of a jam, and thankfully my art supplies are going to rescue and save me. What's the problem that I have? I have absolutely zero Christmas wrap in my house, and on top of that, I'm running late to get my advent calendar together for my nephew. Now, in my family, we have an advent calendar tradition where every day through December until Christmas, you open up some small little gift. One year we actually wrapped up books that we already had when my kids were little, and that became the story that we read. So that was the Christmas story or a favorite story that was that night. So every night they got to open a present. Well, I want to continue this tradition for my nephew. And since he's a boy and I have girls, I'm not really used to the whole, what do you do for boys? So I decided we'll get him a little car, and it's really inexpensive, cars and trucks kind of thing. And he'll get to open one of those each day in December. But now I need wrapping paper, and then I need something boy. So I decided I can use my Gelli plate to make some wrapping paper, and I'm actually going to create these little pouches or pockets or sew them up so that they're all wrapped up. And I actually find sewing up packages is easier and faster than using tape and traditional wrapping paper. But I needed something in a boy theme, and that's where I decided to use my coming and going stencil because it has cars and vehicles on it and subways, and he lives in a big city, so he's going to get a kick out of the cab and the subway and all that kind of stuff. So thankfully, got that all together. But now here's the other jam that I'm in, is it's really, really close to December 1st, and I have to get this mailed off to him. At this point, I don't know if it's going to make it on time, so fingers crossed, but speed was of the essence with this. I had to hurry this through, had to get this done, and of course, there's all sorts of other holiday things going on. So for that, I turned to the Gelli plate because I needed to get this done ASAP. Well, here's the paper that I'm going to Gelli print on that's going to create my wrapping paper. And it is some thin brown paper that I've just put cheap white paint on. And you're probably going to want to know exactly what that paper is. And I can't tell you, it's on a roll with no label or anything. I either got it at an office supply store or a hardware store. It beats me, but basically it's just thin paper with white paint on it. Now I need to make 24 of these, and so I need a lot of wrapping paper for this. So I'm looking for speed, so I want to cover as much space or territory as I can in any one moment. So what I'm doing is just using the 12 by 14 Gelli plate. I've got the paint on there, you saw me brayer that on, and now what I'm doing is using my fist to push the paper into the stencil. That way it's going to get all the way to the paint. I'm going to get great contact and get the image with it. Now, since these are all going to be cut up, I don't care if everything's perfect, or if there's a smudge here and there. The reason why is because, again, this is all going to be cut up and nobody's really going to notice. So why am I going to put all this stress and pressure on myself when printing? Because what I'm after here is speed. What I really need is to make a lot of these quickly because I should have had this in the mail to my nephew, a couple days ago. So beauty of this, because I use so much paint, is I can actually get multiple pulls with this. Now, the fact that I've still got paint on there, I'm not going to waste that. I'm going to take another print. So by just putting that paper on there, I get a very different look to the print. Some of the prints are going to look like it's got a lot of white to them, and some of the prints are going to look like they don't have a lot of white to them. So magically, I have variety, which is what I was after. So very different look, and when you see these all sewn together, you'll see how it looks like I've got multiple different kinds of wrapping paper for it without me having to actually do extra work. And if you're new to the Gelli plate or Gelli printing and you're curious about how it all works or what kinds of things you can do with it, I've got all sorts of resources, videos, techniques for you over on my blog at acolorfuljourney.com. You can find them all under the freebie section. And of course, I'll have a link down below in the description here on the YouTube video. Now, the things that I'm going to be wrapping or trapping inside these pouches of homemade gift wrap, well, they're all different sizes. So I am actually going to make sure that the packaging or the shape that I'm making will fit the item. So for the semi-trucks, I'm going to need a long one. So that's going to take a whole sheet of paper. And I also want to make sure that the design or the images of the cars are upright because, well, that for some reason feels very important to me on this. Now what I'm going to do is put the numbers on it because in an advent calendar, each day of December until Christmas, you get to open a different gift. So this way, my nephew will know which one he gets on which day. So this one happens to be for December 14th. I'm just taking acrylic paint and a small paintbrush and I'm just painting it on there. I'm going to set that aside to dry, and now that one is ready to be sewn up. Well, for these smaller cars or vehicles, I'm only going to use a half sheet for this. And then I'm simply going to fold it in half. That way I'll be sure that my vehicle can fit in it. And then I'll also know where I want to put the number so that he again knows which one he can open on which day. So little car, little truck, whatever vehicle that is. And then I'm just going to paint the next number. The very hardest part about doing this for me is every year I somehow seem to mess up the numbers. So I try and do them in order. That way I don't miss any or skip any. And then I always double check at the end to make sure I actually have one for every day of December through the 24th. Over the years, I've learned different ways of wrapping up Advent calendar type gifts. And I actually find sewing them up like this far faster than wrapping with the traditional gift wrap and packing tape. So I'm just going to do a straight stitch along two of the sides because I've got the fold on the other. So then I'll create the pouch and I'm just going to gently work the car, trick, whatever that thing is, work it right into the envelope pouch that I've got and then sew it up. If for some reason that you can't do it this way, because sometimes mine are a little tight, then I will actually take it off of the sewing machine, get it all worked in there, and then bring it back to sew up the last side. But I will say that doing it this way for me is far faster than actually using traditional wrapping paper and tape. And then I continue doing this until I have all of them done, one for each day of December leading up to Christmas. So now these are ready for me to pile into the box and ship off to my nephew, and fingers crossed they make it to him by the December 1st. If not, whenever he gets it, he'll get to open a couple to catch up. Well, thanks for joining me for today's play. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up. And of course, if you have friends that you think would enjoy it, I'd really appreciate it if you share it with them. And of course, don't want to miss a video? Hit that subscribe button. That way you'll know as soon as I have a new one out. Well, thanks for being a part of this colorful journey.